Declare that the board is in open session at 6:41 p.m. Information session reports, superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. It's my first official full board meeting. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank the entire board as well as the Torrington administrators and all of the staff for the very warm welcome that I've been given in these past 2 months. It's been great and I truly appreciate it. I want to share that I'm looking forward to the meet and greet tomorrow evening. If anyone's around, if anyone's listening, tomorrow from 4:30 to 7 up at Torrington, I'll be there welcoming anyone who wants to come by just to say hello and have some lemonade and cookies with me. I know all of the board has already received a formal invite to convocation on Monday, the 28th, but this is my personal plea and formal invite to you personally to come on down to Torrington at 8 o'clock for some breakfast and 8:30 for to start the convocation. I'm looking forward to welcoming all the staff, as is everyone at the team at central office, at both convocation and on a professional development, as well as welcoming all of the students on the 31st. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the wonderful teachers and administrators and staff in action in those classrooms starting on the 31st and throughout the year. So I'm really excited. Everything has been a great transition. All of the people who have come to meet with me have been wonderful. And once again, just a big thank you to everyone here.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Wilson? Welcome. Thank you. We're happy to have you. Human resources report.
So welcome back, everyone. You have kind of the vacancy side is kind of where we are now. So you can kind of see on the right side, the total number of vacancies that we've been looking to fill all summer, which included retirements and resignations that we got in the spring, along with anybody that resigned throughout the summer or any of those things. So just to kind of give you the ballpark of the number, the current vacancies are actually not the current vacancies right now. So I have an up to the minute update for you right now. So we have filled 2 of those special ed positions already. Kudos to Laura and her team, because in the last month, they have done a tremendous job filling our special ed vacancies, outreach. We collaborated together and really put ourselves in a much better place than many other districts. So, tremendous job done by them. And then on the classified side, we have filled 2 of those 9 special ed paras. So we still have 7 left, but interviews are coming. The 2 ELL bilingual paras have been filled. The safety and security associate recommendation came in, so that one hopefully will be filled tomorrow. The nurse has been filled. 2 of the 4 cafeteria workers have been filled, and both lunch monitors have been filled.
2 of the 4 cats?
Yes, 2 of the 4 CAF workers. So, and interviews are all still ongoing for those classified positions still, and the certified positions remaining. So everybody is really working hard. Kudos to all of the administrators for filling their vacancies all summer. Huge team effort, and where other districts are, we've just done a tremendous job. So, any questions about anything?
Just have one question.
Sure.
So you have nurse FTE 1, new separation 1. Do we have 2 nurse vacancies or 1?
We have 1 nurse vacancy because the person resigned after August 1st. So that new separation number is really the people that resigned after August 1st, just so that you could see that those resignations came in late in the game.
So does that mean you had 2 openings?
Nope. We have 1 person resign after August 1st. We posted it. They interviewed and they filled it. And she accepted, and she's already filling out her paperwork.
So the only classifieds, sorry, I was like writing as you were going.
Yeah, sure.
So I see 7 sped paras, 2 CAF workers, 1 BCBA. That's it for classified.
Yes.
And then of the
And safety and security hasn't officially accepted yet.
right.
We think
Right.
it's
You think so. And then
yes.
2 of the 4 sped teachers were filled. So there's 2
Yeah,
sped
so the high
openings.
school one is filled. The Vogel one and 1 of the middle school ones still to be filled. Interviews happening this week.
Yeah.
So
Parent interviews tomorrow, teachers Friday.
Great. Love it.
I'm sorry if I'm not following. The 31 teachers, are those still vacant?
nope, that was what we started with,
Okay.
but
That
didn't
makes sense.
necessarily start with, right? So that's the
Okay.
total number of vacancies throughout the summer.
And this is our left-hand column.
And this is
where we're at
what's
now.
left. Yes.
Understood.
So
Thank
in
you.
total, there were 31 teachers, and now we've got 3.
Got it.
So
Excellent.
Thank you.
And total, everything on the right for the classified is what really we've looked at over the summer. And now what Ed just so eloquently recapped is what we're left with.
Can I just have one more thing?
Yes.
The 2 openings that we have, I also am ready for them to start because we have long-term subs that retired. So we will have a teacher in there, even if we don't have somebody ready to go on day 1, because we just hired somebody the other day.
Yes, we did.
And he is being held by their district. So he won't be here till a little bit later, but I have a long-term sub, so we're good.
We have the qualified retired people that are doing the retirement incentive that are certified in special ed who are able to jump right in and go into those positions to help us cover till we can get the people that we hire on board. And we're actually able to do some of that with the paras as well. And Laura and I just talked as well that we're gonna put all of these para openings, the 7 that we have, we're gonna put them into the system to be able to get an ESS sub, to be able to pick up those jobs at least for the first 2 weeks while we're trying to fill these last couple positions.
Then will we be able to run the Italian at the high school? Do we have someone?
So, yeah, so we're gonna try to create, we are gonna run it. We've got a creative solution that we're gonna do, partnering with our ESS people who have that online component that they can help us with. So, and we have a long-term solution that won't quite be ready right away, but we're gonna dip our toes in the water and see how that works to be able to get that done. So Brian and his team have been working directly with the team at Proximity, which is ESS's partner on that, to be able to see how that goes. And I think we've got a great qualified sub that's going to be able to help facilitate that in the room and see how it goes. And then, the thought process is if it works nicely, then some of those positions like that, you had mentioned Latin, like things like that, we can possibly use that as an option for some of our students to be able to offer more exciting programs for them where we only have one section available. So,
And then just my other question was, we will have enough coverage. They'll provide subs for those special ed para openings so that we have people.
that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put those in now because of where we are right now. And the hope is yes, so yes, I believe that they've been working really hard to recruit people over the summer. So we're going to put those into our absences right now so that ESS subs that have been recruited over the summer can start to pick up those jobs to at least cover for those first 2 weeks while we're continuing to find candidates.
Okay, great. Sue, did you have a question?
I did, but you kind of answered it. So it's the Italian class is going to be virtual, right?
It's going to be live virtual instruction.
Okay.
Yep. And I
See
mean,
how it goes.
Brian's here, but I think his team has done a nice job working with them. So I think I'm excited to see how it goes. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our students.
So we put a teacher, we put a para or somebody in the room, a live person along with the virtual.
Yes.
Gary,
So in relationship to that, we gotta go back a few years with some of my kids. We didn't have a Latin teacher. We didn't have an Italian teacher. Can we assess it as we go along? Because in both,
Yes.
2 of the 3 cases, nothing happened throughout the whole year because I think one Latin teacher ended up getting arrested or something, living in his van and
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. That was years ago.
Okay, let's try that in.
In the parking. But, so nothing
Yes.
happened. He sat there for a year and we didn't get anywhere with his Latin.
That is the plan.
He wasn't there for you.
No, I know.
Not the van part.
No,
Yeah.
not the plan part.
Hopefully, we can
But
assess it. so
we do
don't
actually
get
have a
sick.
longer term solution. It's just that, so there's a candidate that we could consider, but that person is not certified yet, and not ready yet.
Yeah, as
So
long as we assess
So
it,
this
make
is
sure
a,
kids
this
get
is a
accepted.
great solution to help us kind of test the waters
Yeah.
while we're kind of waiting for that to possibly happen.
Yeah, I have no
So,
problem with that. I just want to
yeah.
make sure the kids don't sit there
Yeah, no,
and nothing happens.
we're definitely gonna make sure that we check in on it. So.
any other questions from the board? No, thank you. Did you have more?
I was gonna say, do you want me to go over the rest of it? So yeah, just you have the June sub reports and you have the June absences. So just where we landed for the end of the year. You can see that obviously our sub fill rates are definitely not where we need them to be, and have every confidence that ESS is going to do better for us. So they've been actively recruiting all summer. Down below, just some of our initiative updates. We have successfully got our 4 teacher residents ready to start the year, 2 that are doing the relay program and 2 that are doing the teacher residency program. So we're very excited about that. New teacher orientation was today and tomorrow, so that was phenomenal. It was great. Everybody had a wonderful time. So, and we're going to be working on our wellness calendar for the year and planning our site visits. So. And then on the second page, you've got just the comparison for the end of the year where we landed for the fill rates and what % were filled by Torrington employees. The board had asked last year for me to kind of break out what those absences were. So I kind of chunked them into groups for you so that you could see what that looks like.
Thank you,
That's
Jen,
great.
for that.
Thank you.
And then down below is our total staff turnover for the 22-23 school year. And just in comparison, the teacher turnover went down. The para turnover did go up, but a majority of that happened in the first half of the year. So I'm confident that we're going to fix that this year because of some of the changes that we made mid-year. So.
Yes.
This is a great chart. Thank you so much, Kim. On the personal side, I don't know the answer. How many personal days does a staff member get? Just it's a percentage, which is obviously legitimate and they need it, but for our purpose, how many does somebody get? Is this like 9 people using 38 of them? Or?
Yeah, teachers and paras both get 2 per year. Paraprofessionals can carry over one of those 2 so that at a given year, they might have 3 if they didn't use their 2 in one year. But the teachers get 2 per year. And if they don't use them, they don't carry over.
So a third of all teacher absences for the year was a personal day they only get 2 of. Okay, thank you.
You don't have to, they don't have to use personal days if they don't want to for stuff like jury duty, et
Correct.
cetera. So
Yeah,
that could be.
yeah. So I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes. So the jury duty and the bereavement, graduation day, wedding day, those would be separate. And then the unpaid personal might be something that was approved in accordance with their contract where they can request an unpaid personal day. So yes.
So they're beyond just the 2.
The
That makes more
total
sense.
personal number includes all of those buckets under personal. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Kim. I think this shines a better light on the absences.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Laura.
Okay, so I apologize that my report didn't make it in. I've been trying to interview, and I just didn't get it in on time. So I just made the copies for you, and Allie is going to pull it up. So it's been a little bit crazy in my department. So we knew that Taryn was leaving us in the spring. There's her wedding picture. She's gorgeous. Did you guys over there again?
I didn't.
Yes. And so Taryn left us
Thank
to become an elementary supervisor in Brookfield. She lives in Southbury. It's like 10 minutes from her house. So she had very mixed emotions, but we wish her well. More surprising was Lisa Valenzici. We just found out she was leaving us a few weeks ago. So I had no elementary supervisors, and we were trying to get all this staffing done. So it was a little crazy this summer. Lisa is going to be the assistant director of student services in Weston. She lives in Monroe, so it's also much closer to her home. So they're big shoes to fill, but guess what? We did. So I liked that little statement at the bottom. A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. Like, okay, here we have this bend, but we're going to go through it and we're going to move on. So I have wonderful people that are now working with us. So I put our new and nearly new. I wanted to include the picture of Sue McMahon because Sue came on last year after the school year had already begun. We were lucky to steal Sue from Farmington, where she was not only a special ed teacher for 21 years, but she was an assistant principal for 3 years. So she had that kind of leadership too. So she's been a great addition, really strong at the middle school. I know both Shelley and Jason could definitely attest to that. We were very lucky to bring on Lindsay Goodwin. She came in as we called her our new Taryn. So she's going to be doing Vogel in Southwest. We took her from Hartford, but previously she was also in Oxford, a SPED teacher for 90 years. She also, Allie, better watch out, was the technology coordinator for 5 years in Hartford. And she was their IEP compliance monitor, which is great because I'm really particular about maintaining our compliance. And then we stole one of our own people. I don't do myself any favors because I make paras, RBTs, make teachers, supervisors, and then I have to fill those positions. But Stephanie is a very capable resource room teacher from the middle school. She's been a SPED teacher for 12 years. Prior to us, she was in New Milford. She also was a transition coordinator. So I'm very lucky to have these three ladies join Steve and Tom and I. And we're just going to go around that bend and we're going to just keep doing what we're doing.
Well, what are their actual positions?
So they are supervisors. So Sue is the middle school supervisor. And Lindsay and Stephanie are both elementary supervisors. And Steve Barton is my high school supervisor. Okay. So I would give,
Sorry.
yeah.
So have we added a person?
No.
Sue was there last year.
Yeah, Sue was
Okay.
here. So Sue was Gavin.
That's it.
So, right, so, but we hired her last year, but as I said, it was after the school year started, so. Okay, so I will give you the official numbers, after October 1st. It's silly to do it now because they always look so different between who's gone off to, vocational and who do we have in choice, and the numbers are always wonky for the first month. But, so what I said was after approximately 87 interviews this summer, we have all certified positions covered to begin except the 2, as Kim said, and I have teacher interviews tomorrow, parent interviews on Friday. Our big news this summer, I was really scared because in June, we had 9 students that we were waiting to outplace and there were openings nowhere. Everybody had wait lists. And so Tom and I kept talking about what do we do if we can't get these kids outplaced, because we've determined we can't meet their needs. They need more. So we had 9 and we are now down to 2 unplaced students. I'm thrilled and we think they're going to be placed by the first day. So I'm really excited. Tom worked very, very hard. Special kudos to him. And our number of outplacements remains the lowest it's ever been in Torrington. So that's great.
Yeah.
But again, we outplace when we have to.
Were those new students or those students who generally couldn't take care of, we couldn't satisfy?
Exactly. So for the most part, they were our kids that we had tried to, make it work. We did have a couple that moved in and, they're not all new. One that returned from a hospital setting and we had to determine. So the starting numbers will be on October 1st. After that, I'll have it for the October meeting. But just wanted to give you the 2 snapshots from CT SEDS and where we are. This was as of a couple days ago. And so we have about 725 IEP kids. I wanted you to see the breakdown. So if you look on the right, our biggest number is obviously LD. That's always been the case forever and ever, everywhere. But the little orange bar above that, SLDD, that's a learning disability, specifically dyslexia. That didn't exist years ago. That kind of got added in. When you put those 2 groups together, that makes up about 1/3 of our special ed population here. What's been kind of interesting to watch is autism. And it's not just Torrington, but forever and ever and ever, and I was a SPED teacher for a long time, the second biggest category was usually either OHI or speech language impaired. And now autism has overtaken that. We currently have 108 autistic children in our district. So that's the largest growing category. We continue to figure out how to program for them, but that's why I've had to increase voices classrooms over the past few years because of that population of children coming in.
Laura, could
Yeah.
you, not now, but after the meeting, send to Marissa what these abbreviations are? So she can
Sure,
send it
I'm
to the
sorry,
board?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
That way
sorry.
it won't
I
hurt
forget
for you to
SPED.
go
We use
through
all
it, but-
kinds of acronyms all the time.
Exactly.
Forget
But
that.
if you just send it to
Okay.
Marissa, so she can get it out to everybody.
You got it. I will do that. So there's something that I'm going to brag a little bit about. Pretty proud of it. Down below that 99%, 1%. Our department has been chosen by the Connecticut State Department Bureau of Special Ed to present at the back to school meeting for all of Connecticut's public and private schools on our success in implementing CT SEDS last year. We are one of only 6 districts out of 169 who have maintained a nearly perfect compliance rate all last year. The state is around 80%. So we have been 99 to 100. So if you can see, that's over the past year, 3,861 students that we were compliant with IEPs, and 33 were not. And most of those are just children that are coming in pre-K, and they haven't had their third birthday yet. So that's why they're there. Once they have their third birthday, their IEP will be finalized in the start services. So I'm pretty proud of my team. Special kudos to Lisa Valenzici. So I'm mad she's leaving me. And also to Chrissy Hart. Chrissy is my CDAC secretary. She does all the state report secretaries, and she's very type A too. And she makes sure that everything looks great in our system. But even our teachers, and Jason can attest to it, there was so much complaining in the state about CT SEDS, and our people just embraced it and they learned it. It's our new statewide reporting system. It's the new IEP system. We all have to use the same one now. The state made this new thing. They built it, they put the system together while they were building the plane last year. So there were a lot of problems with it, and we worked through it. And so I think I'm really proud of that. So we have to present on September 8th at that. So, and they're using our materials. So they're taking our things and they are having other districts implement what we have done. So it's pretty exciting, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. TAG. We have a very enthusiastic TAG teacher I'm excited about. So Paulina Kalaki was one of my SPED teachers. So here I go again, pull her from there, and now we need to find a new one. But she's really strong. She's very enthusiastic. I had a meeting with her and talked about where we wanted this to go, and she was going to be building it with me as we are going along, because we're still trying to figure out what we're doing. Our current timeline, the COGET is in. Thanks to, did Andrew go? So we got the COGET in. It's going to be administered soon as we can get it administered in September, followed by determination of eligibility. Then legally we have to hold a PPT to qualify them. It's a group PPT, it's no big deal, but we have to do that. And then after that, we will figure out exactly who meets the additional qualification. We will have in-class supports at that time going on, because the other part of her job will be going in and modeling for classroom teachers on how to differentiate for gifted students. Early October, I want to have a parent informational session for those children that have qualified, so the parents know what we're going to do for their kids, because their kids may have to, especially at the middle school, give up another class to be able to be involved with the activities we're doing in the TAG program. So I want them to be able to see these would be the benefits of TAG. So we're going to do that together, Paulina and I, early October. And then hopefully by mid-October, the schedules will have been finalized and we'll be able to finally start doing the TAG services. So that's my plan. Hopefully that will work out.
One thing to this. because
Yeah.
I think it's important as far as what we've been talking about all along. So about growing our own. So Paulina Kalaki, school chair in middle school from Poland, and spoke no English whatsoever. So I think this is going to be a great addition for looking at all of our students as far as their capabilities to succeed, not completely just language dependent. So it's great.
Okay, when we met in June, I didn't have my budget numbers, but I just wanted to show you that we looked at where we were, and we finished up about $1.5 million under what I budgeted for the second year in a row. So for 4 years, I've been under budget. A goal to continue for me. And I just put on the bottom, remember that's only special ed. So it's not all those other things like the expulsion program and whatnot. The last thing in terms of the budget, I want you to keep in your mind is that the law changed. So it used to be that if a special education student required schooling till they were 21, they were able to get it through the end of the school year when they turned 21. I think it was 2 years ago, they changed it and they said, well, no, it can be until their 22nd birthday. So if a kid turned 22 on October 1st, they were done on turned 22 on October 1st, they were done at that point. Now it was changed again, and now it is through the end of the school year when they turn 22. The great thing about that was that the state didn't tell us that was coming until budgets were done. And it was like, guess what? You have kids that we thought were leaving that now I'm keeping. One of them, the birthday was like August 14th. She should not have even started this school year. I have to let her start, and she's going to be here for a whole nother year. So just to make, now we're not in bad shape because for us, it's only 6 students, but it's still $200,000 that we didn't plan for. We will need to be planning, like you're going to see that now moving forward. In addition to that, you also may see that we need to increase our pre-K because next year, this is the good thing though, but next year, July 1st, you're not going to be able to go to school until you're 5 years old. So we have children that we're going to be keeping in pre-K longer. That may require me to have a couple more pre-K classes for some of our kids. So just kind of putting that out there, keep in your mind going forward. I apologize for being so long. I thought it was going to be really short. And I will get back to numbers and whatnot.
Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
Just really briefly, can you tell me a little bit about maybe the average student who's in the public schools, 18 to 22? Are these people who maybe have pretty serious difficulties and are sort of continuing that as they transition into adult services? Is that kind of why
Yes,
they?
exactly.
Okay.
So it's a lot of, it's a combination of academic, so functional academic kind of skills, but also work within the community. So they're working, they're going out, they're doing job skills and whatnot. And then also beginning to work with the different agencies in the community so that once they age out, they have things in place for them to help them get jobs and whatnot.
Thank you.
It's a small population, and that's the Torrington Transition Academy is our own in-house that we do. We really have pretty much gotten away from outplacing anybody because we have our own and we're continuing to try to improve the services that we offer. So
You say small, what?
Just as a point of reference, so if we were still using our old model before we put in our own program, this would have cost us $425,000 more than the $200,000. We would have been up at $625 based on what we were paying per student. So it's worth investing in ourselves and our students.
and and it's good for the kids because we're doing this in our own community. So now we're going out and our teacher that teaches that is amazing. She was like all summer out in the community trying to line up more jobs for our kids. So they're going out in our community. They are, meeting people, learning the jobs that they may hold in our community rather than outplacing them someplace 3 towns away, but then they're going to live here. So it really is the best way to go, I think.
And they're actually looking for bottles, for that convocation, bottles, cans, anything like that to raise some money for the students in the program. So if anyone is coming to convocation, bring your local kids.
So one of the things, when we go to the Board of Finance, I don't think anybody realizes, because I don't think it's communicated enough, that what's expected from our budget to cover all the things we cover, like this program. I mean, people have no idea that it doesn't end when kids are 18. I mean, I think going forward, at least the Board of Finance needs to understand this isn't just about getting kindergartners and first graders and second graders into class and teaching them. It's about till they're 22, 23, 24 years old, whatever the age is.
Mhm.
Nobody knows that. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we need to make people aware of it.
Well, I'll do whatever you need.
No, I know you will.
So let me know.
Just, it's really up to the people that speak publicly.
Any other questions for Laura? Thank you very much, Laura.
Sure.
Monthly financial.
Thank you.
I
So
feel like we just talked about this.
I know, as we explained last night, there's not a lot of activity starting yet, and we still really didn't report where we ended the year, so that's kind of what you're looking at now. So we ended the year with a surplus of 419,819, 200,000 of which dog-eared for the turf field, and we're going to come up with a, I make the suggestion that we put the balance in our capital reserve, and we're working with IT now to see if we could have some capital projects for IT for dog-ear, the 219,000.
You want for that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't here last night, so I apologize if this was asked, but has the city agreed or indicated their intent to agree to take the surplus that we have to return to them, as I recall, and put it in capital reserve?
I said that.
Sure, but we have to have specific projects.
No, I understand. So this 219, I mean, my understanding has always been that we have to give that to them and then tell them what we want them to do with it and hope they agree.
Correct. Have to
Okay.
go before the Board of Finance, they have to approve it and then.
I thought they,
It goes.
didn't they approve it in a joint meeting
Not
last
all
year?
of this.
Right, so they've sort of casually indicated it, but we don't have projects quite yet to hand them for formal approval. Is that right? Okay.
Well, because we can't identify specific to the dollar until everything comes
Of
in
course.
July and August, and we know what the actual end is going to be, the actual dollar. amount.
Right.
Go ahead, Steph. Sorry.
Did we get our alliance funding information yet? We didn't.
Not quite. We have, Michael and I have a meeting done to finalize some of that stuff.
Who are we waiting?
We should know.
Who's it coming from? Me from the state or from the state?
There's nothing on the state
Nothing on the state.
yet. We still haven't posted. Looking every day.
The grant website is terrible.
Yeah.
Trying to
I'm just trying to see
figure out
what
where
they're
the grant
doing
money
with the
goes.
Alliance versus the ECS, and that's not
Right.
clear yet how they're handling that, so that's why I've been looking to see. There's been some discussion that they're reducing our ECS by the Alliance, but everything I talked to at the state said that's not what's happening. But there's nothing formal as to what our ECS amount is, and we're not allowed to establish yet, so. The ECS money will go, it goes directly to the city to offset support of their budget.
Yeah, it's a revenue item on their balance sheet.
So.
So when it goes down, they panic. It's kind of funny.
This is just unusual because it was passed in June. The numbers are usually posted pretty soon after, but they're not there, yeah.
Well, there wasn't a reduction in the state's appropriation, though. The state appropriated a significantly more money for
Correct.
education. They just haven't decided exactly who's getting it, right? Is that basically the gist?
Well, I thought they did in June, and that's.
Well, the legislature never tells the department how much to give to every town. That's the problem.
So hopefully we can resolve that soon. And then, yeah. I mean, we know where we're at, it's just other things that come into play depending on how they bring out the ECS. So they can't give us a reduction, we have to get what we got last year. In total. So we'll see, more to come on. Maybe. All right, any questions?
I have a
Go
quick
ahead,
question. Have we heard anything back about the insurance? From the city or what we're doing with the health insurance? I always see the budget report and I see the $14.3 million. Are we doing our committee or anything? Or we?
Yeah, we are going to do a committee. There's some other things that are up in discussion right now. We're also waiting on the CCS Alliance split thing, so it's all kind of tied together. Once we get some more information, we'll schedule the first meeting.
Okay.
What's the time? Do you have any idea what the time frame is on that?
Hopefully we can make it September. Would be helpful.
It's a lot of work, so.
So a lot of people came forward to be on this committee, so we're in good shape. Any other questions? Thank you. Field trip, JRO to student camp Niagara.
Yeah, this is the field trip that they do every year. It's in your packet because it's an overnight in Niantic.
I love it. I love it. It seems
I
great.
know.
Is that Columbus Day weekend that they do that? Or no, is it during the week?
No,
It's a Wednesday to Friday.
It's during the week, yeah, before.
It is. My only question was, I think they always have 100% participation.
Right.
We don't have to worry about kids left behind.
Yep, I noticed that too. And this time they say that they were taking, I think they said they were going to take approximately 7, or that the cadets would be determined at the beginning of the school year. And that they did list the alternate activity for cadets not attending. I have to reach out to Colonel Colores and find out why there's a shift.
I just, because it's one sub for 3 days, $300. I just don't remember that in the past, and maybe it was, and I just didn't notice it, but.
I think it was, but I noticed it too. I wasn't necessarily looking at the sub fund, but I did notice that typically there's no students that don't participate, so.
Has there historically been the $50 expected from the cadets to pay? Or, okay,
Yeah, it's the exact same chart
Right.
that he submits every single year, so I just
yeah, I've
have,
probably seen it 5 times.
yeah,
The value.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just didn't pay attention to the change there.
Any other questions on the field trip? Okay. District assign device rules and appropriate usage, and I will be very happy when we're not talking about this.
So we,
So,
Can you just tell us what's changed?
yes, keep it simple. We're running. Probably be long.
so at the policy committee meeting, we talked about a device loan agreement that gave the district the opportunity to build in some accountability if the devices were lost or stolen or damaged, right?
Okay.
So we had submitted at that point kind of a draft idea. And then Mr. Putnam offered to share his expertise. So Jeff and Rachel and Fiona and Mike at one point and I met, and then we had a subsequent meeting, we went back and forth. And Jeff helped us out with some of the, bless you, some of the different tiers based on the cost of the
value
initial,
of the
the value of the equipment, right? Just to make it a little more reasonable. So then we kind of tossed those ideas around, agreed upon something. And I think what the it was kind of the 11th hour, if you recall, and the reason for that is at the high school, I think we were starting to distribute to seniors, right? So needed to get the loan agreement out. In the loan agreement cited a policy that we were kind of like a sub policy, if you will, of our acceptable use policy. So then Fiona had asked that we post that to the website in draft form, which we did, so that parents could then go and take a look. So what you have here is kind of the end product. And I have to thank Jeff because this is his wheelhouse and not mine.
Team effort.
But yeah, no, so the various repair costs, insurance costs, replacement costs, and that sort of thing. So it was the device loan agreement and the plan itself was made more, what's the word for it? It is. It has much more teeth to it, I
Sure.
think, than what we had originally.
Probably more commensurate with the type of device somebody has. So if
Yeah.
you have an inexpensive device, the coverage is less expensive.
Yeah.
Like your cell phone. If you have a $99 cell phone, the insurance is a lot cheaper than if you have a $1,000 iPhone, 15 plus.
Right. So the Chromebooks, certainly the replacement cost of a Chromebook is far less than what it would be for one of the Apple devices. Yes.
Go ahead, Gary.
Are you satisfied with it?
I am actually, so thank you. When this came about, one of the first meetings that we had as a team at central office was to, protect the board and to protect the devices that were going out, and by putting it in policy that does that. And then as Sue and Jeff just shared, the subsequent forms with an insurance policy and things of that nature. It really just protects the devices, it protects all the families, it protects the board. And I think it was, I don't want to say a long time coming, but I think it's definitely in the step in the right direction with all of the technology that we have is to protect ourselves. So I'm very happy with it.
I think I would add that it's designed to help the students be more responsible too. Just knowing that that your family is responsible for the cost sometimes has its own intended/unintended consequences to the responsibility of people. So
Go ahead, Sue. What was, do we know what costs that were incurred last year in damaged or vandalized equipment? How much out of pocket we spent?
Substantial. It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that are gonna be different this year.
You mean uncollected, or just substantial?
Well, we
didn't have any.
Oh.
But now we'll have a policy, there'll be disciplinary components in place for students that are knowingly vandalizing school property.
Accountability.
More accountability, right?
and it wasn't all just damaged stuff. It was some lost things or
Right.
chargers not returned. And there's a lot of things that this will help bring this families and students focus back around. Do I have to return the device? And I'm responsible for it. So I'm sure what we saw last year, Rachel will be happy to see not happening. And she was very excited to not make it so difficult next year. So she was great with the process.
Yes, Rachel was very anxious to get something like this in place for quite some time.
Ed,
So this is sort of an out of the box question, but so this is by necessity, of course, a voluntary agreement into which a family may choose not to enter with the school district. What happens? So if I say, you know what, I think my child is too reckless and irresponsible, and I don't want to be financially responsible for what is sure to be their dumb decision. I do not want this device. I do not want to sign this agreement. What's the educational consequence or lack thereof for my child? What happens to their education?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, luckily I haven't had to face that, but the use of technology to enhance the educational opportunities for children is obviously greater than it's ever been. We've all realized the value of that just as time has gone on. So I think that most students, and I'm not speaking for all, because there could be one or two, understand the benefits of that because our teachers use that platform. If a parent were to come and say, I'm home to not sign this, I'm not allowing my child to take home the device. And that was the stance that a parent were to take. Obviously, my building administrators and my technology department and us, we'd obviously meet with them and see if we could provide something maybe for during the day use and for the classroom use and not to take it home if someone was that passionate. But I think it limits their abilities at home and to continue the assignment, to continue the work that's asked of them to do. And it really would inhibit their learning process. So I would really encourage parents before they would go to that step. And I understand some parents, obviously they know their children way better, but we do not want to hamper the learning. Remember that home life and the homework and the assignments are an extension of the classroom. Right? And if we're using it as an extension of the classroom, which is an extension of the learning experience, that piece of technology, that piece of equipment is paramount to that. So I really want to engage the parent in that conversation and make them understand the rationale why the policy that's in place is just that, is to protect everything and to protect that piece of equipment, but also to that accountability piece, which is needed just as a skill, right, moving forward. So I would have that conversation, and if that were to happen, obviously more than less or whatever the case may be, we would definitely have to possibly revisit it. But in my experience, if someone felt that passionate, even after our conversation, I would share that, obviously, if the board were so inclined to hear information like that, but really to encourage that parent to rethink their approach, because it would inhibit their childhood learning experience.
Right. No, I for what it's worth, I agree with you that I think it's extremely unlikely. But it's something that happens. And I have a question in a similar vein. I don't mean to sort of pick away at what clearly was a lot of labor. So I'm not opposed to this, but The other thing I'm thinking about, and the other example would be maybe like lunch debt in districts where they have this, where it's exceedingly difficult to collect, right? So if, let's say I do sign the agreement and I don't want to pay for the insurance, or whatever we're calling it, because we don't really sell insurance. So whatever we're calling it, I don't want to buy that. And my child flies off the handle and smashes his school issued MacBook on the sidewalk. And you tell me I owe you $800. Well, you still owe my child a free and public education, and I'm not paying you $800. What happens?
So it's like anything else, we would have to look to policy in that, you know, it is the expectation of the student to return all items and to have that clean bill of returns, if you will, by the time they are going to have their graduation. It is not uncommon for that decision to be made to withhold that piece because they have not met their requirements. So that is a conversation that needs to be continued and to hold that accountability. So if that child were to say, here's my laptop, slam it. Well, you know, that's a blatant act, right?
But yeah, I'm sure there'd be discipline for the student, but for the, like, what happens to try and get the money out of me? Is the answer withhold
That
graduation
would
until
be
the
That
family?
would be the process that we
Okay.
would recommend, yes.
Okay, that's all I got.
They can make payments on it. It's all about accountability and responsibility.
No, I understand. It's not my intention to pull this apart or vote against it. I just, those are the two things that immediately sort of popped into my head as I read through it, that there are some potential conflicts that I think will be rare, but worth considering.
Just for clarification to the board, pages 30 and 31, because I see some notes going on, are the original draft document that was presented at a policy meeting a few weeks ago. 32 and 33 are the ones that actually went home, that Rachel and the district sent home to students. So
Okay.
So
There you go,
32
Glenn.
and
30 and 31 were an original
32,
draft.
33 are
We
the-
started,
got it.
and 32 and 33 where we ended up.
Great.
Through the collaboration.
Anybody have any questions on either of those?
Nice work. Yeah.
Device protection plan. So this is being offered to families, it's $20 protection. For your, well, the tiers.
Yeah, 25 and 49.
Yeah.
So this is insurance, not unlike you pay for your auto insurance, you pay for it and if something happens. You'd be covered. First time, but it's not for repeated. You're not going to get multiple smashes out of this insurance. If you don't, nothing happens to your computer, you don't get the money back at the end of the year. It's basically insurance. If your child was to do something. Go ahead. Ed.
Maybe I'm overthinking it. Are we allowed to sell what is functionally insurance to our captive audience of
It is
students and families?
self-insurance.
Okay,
So it's not going out with an insurance company.
Right.
We're self-insured.
where does the money land?
No different than, you know, how we have like our lock accounts and those other accounts.
No, yeah, I'm just, so there will be a specific account
Specific account.
for this. Okay.
So, and hopefully a lot of these issues are gonna correct themselves once there's a little bit more accountability among everybody. And, you know, in fairness to everybody, 5 years ago, no one ever thought we would ever have computers in the district for all of our kids. So I think all of our policies are finally catching up to the fact that we have all these very expensive devices and it's a privilege that we have them and everyone needs to start treating it that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
Last add is that this is our first year at it as a district, so it should be expected that there will be a few bumps along the way. There'll be a lot of learning this year. The superintendent's team will have a lot of great conversations, I'm sure, over the next year. But this is a great place to start, and thank you for all your hard work.
Any other questions? Everybody good? Okay, food services. So as everyone knows, we put our food services out to bid. One of our bidders was actually disqualified. And the other two bids that were in were too expensive and not the direction we wanted to go. So we have decided that we are bringing food services into in-house. for this year. So effective immediately, we will be running our own food service program, which has a lot of benefits. We'll have more say in the food that's provided. You know, there's a lot of work been going on behind the scenes over the last couple of weeks to kind of put this into place and make sure that we have food. Everything's ready to go.
That's an important one.
With a very short window to accomplish a very large endeavor. So thank you to Michael, Sue, Kim, everybody, Scott, everybody has been working on this for the last few weeks. But you know, when you hear things like we've negotiated a deal with Boar's Head to supply sandwich meats and looking at some different farm options, I think that all of our families, staff are going to be really excited about this, and we're actually going to have a cost savings to doing this. I don't know, Michael, if you want to add anything to that.
You know, unfortunate timing or fortunate, however we look at it. I mean, Torrington was actually poised to make this move quite a while ago. A lot of components from food services were being brought under our umbrella. The fact that, as you mentioned earlier, that the process kind of weeded out some folks and the other people came in very high to, you know, which would have not bankrupted the system, but would have put us in a real deficit to start. And bringing it in-house was kind of the natural move, and just kind of push the fast forward button on it. I think the benefits of the in-house program, as you mentioned, Fiona, is the benefits for kids, the benefits for families, and what we can provide for kids. And I think that's the main thing, and having that control over that, if you will. And I use that term because we do have some control over the menus now and what's being offered to our students. And I think that's really important, and the message that's going to go out to families. And I think the families will see that. I know the team in the food service department now has been working really hard behind the scenes to put something out that when they make their statement on it, it's going to just look very different at the start. And I think the product is also going to look very different. So something I'm really excited about. Obviously, the cost savings is huge for the city and for the board, but the benefits of being better for students is what was the best and most important thing. So we had to put the fast forward button on it a bit. This was something I technically would not have brought up until maybe year or two, but it's okay. And we just hit the ground running. And I do want to thank the whole team. I mean, everyone has been working really hard at central office to make this happen and to really kind of make it as seamless as possible. And with the support of the board, I think this is what's an exciting time, and it's really going to just benefit all of the students.
Ed and then Gary.
Well, I should start by saying thank you, everyone. I know that the food service has been sort of on the minds of our families and the board for a long time, and it's a very exciting move. When we discussed this last, which was I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago as a board, we talked about making sure that the folks who were employed by our contractor as the supervisors for food service would be offered employment in Torrington Public Schools if we brought it in-house. Did that end up happening?
Yes, because the contract changed, so they became our employees with
Right.
the last contract negotiation, so they're already our.
Oh, I thought, okay,
It was just some supervisors, wasn't it?
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're right, the supervisors were the ones that were.
We did that all over the summer. So
Okay.
they all were already transitioned before
Okay.
this
Okay,
conversation even started.
Great.
So it actually was seamless.
Perfect.
Because they had already completely been onboarded and transitioned.
excellent.
Gary.
Assuming it goes well year one, we're not obligated to go out to bid every year, are we?
No.
Okay.
Once we keep it in-house,
Right.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
once we
yeah.
keep it in-house, then you do not need to. If it were to ever change and the board wanted to test the waters, then we would have to.
Any other questions, comments? I wanted to bring this to the full board just because we have been working on the RFP process. And I would really like the community to get a feel that the board is behind this decision. So I'm hoping that everyone will support this decision to bring in us.
Will you be for the public, will you be putting out some sort of menu indicating what kind of foods soon so they realize the
The food
difference?
service
between-
department is
Yeah.
100%. They've actually ordered a new program that's going to help with menus, and it's really
So the public
upscale.
can see it.
Yes.
They had all the schools up for lunch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me take you around. Take me up on
Action items, we're removing 9A. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the monthly financials.
Second.
All those in favor?
Gary, Ed,
Entertain a motion to approve the JROTC field trip to Camp Niantic.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Jeff, Ed,
You can give it to Sue if you want.
Jeff, Sue,
Entertain a motion to approve the district assigned device rules and appropriate usage.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Jeff and Kathy,
Entertain a motion effective immediately to bring food services in district.
So move.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ed and Gary,
Entertain a motion to approve the Board of Ed regular meeting minutes of June 7th, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
John and Glenn,
Entertain a motion to approve the Board of Ed special meeting minutes in a bundle of April 25th, June 14th, and June 27th. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
John and Sue,
Entertain a motion to approve the committee or receive the committee meeting minutes in a bundle from sick policy, facilities and tech, budget, and building committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
I'm doing John and Sue,
Entertain a motion to receive the consent agenda.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
John and Kathy,
Items for upcoming agenda, we'll have monthly financials. We will have food service update. Opening of school update. Whatever committees bring to us.
no comments.
Yeah. Comments for the minute in order. Yeah.
Big meeting, I'm just, that's issues and one of the schools, all of the teachers and administrators and stuff. It's the most wonderful thing.
Great meeting. Laura, in your entire study, congratulations on that achievement. In the state recognition.
Thank
That's really exciting. Hopefully we'll hear more about that after you attend
Sure.
and present. That's exciting. I did have a request for September meeting, if we could perhaps get a high level breakdown of administrators by building. So I think there were a lot of changes this year, new faces, new names that many of us. So if we could just see some of that. Something along those lines. And Patrick, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Jeff, welcome back. Welcome to punishment. That's it. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Great first full board meeting. I feel like we've been meeting a couple of times for that. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. Just looking forward to a great day.
So, in keeping with my friend Kathy's theme, I'm gonna say Happy New Year, everyone.
I'm just gonna echo a lot of things, Mr. Wilson, welcome. I'm excited to have you around. Great job on HR, not a lot of
Yes.
vacancies. Laura, that's awesome. I
Thanks.
like, it's good recognition. And, to all the teachers, everybody, good luck. We'll get them.
Yeah, thank you. Great meeting. And again, team effort on the hiring of, administrators, doing interviews. So it's a team effort and I'm super proud of all the work that everybody did. And I'm just excited for the school year. New teacher orientation was fantastic. I can't wait until tomorrow. So that's great. So Happy New Year.
I had the opportunity to be at the new teachers this morning for breakfast and it was exciting. I was walking in with Michael after and I said, it's just to see all their faces, like all excited about this new opportunity. It was kind of exciting to me. So, but a long summer, actually. I'm like looking forward to starting school, the new people ready to go. So.
I'm all set, thank you.
Ally.
Want to say a huge thank you to Rachel and her team. They've been working tirelessly to get our devices ready for students, and it's been a really busy summer for them. So a huge thank you, and definitely happy New Year. Looking forward to it.
Patrick.
Thanks. It's a lot to take in. But I look forward to, joining a couple of committees and learn a lot more.
Yeah, I welcome Patrick and Michael, Mr. Wilson. Your both of your first full board meetings, the least contentious board meeting I've attended in quite some time, so you're both very lucky. And in that, in that same vein, I would just say, I've been on the board for longer than most of its members. And I have never gone into a new school year with as much confidence in the people who are leading our district, our buildings, and teaching our students every day than I have right now. Our packet and presentations this evening were full of nothing but good news, as much as it seemed like I was picking at all of it. It really is nothing but good news. And I'm really looking forward to a better school year than maybe our students have had in a very long time.
Just to thank you to everybody. I know the work's not quite done yet. You guys have 8 days until school starts, so good luck with the rest of it, but thank you for the mountain of work that all the departments have had to do. A lot goes into this, getting it all ready, and we're looking forward to the start of the year, so thank you for all you guys do.
Same thing, everybody's amazing. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I got involved from somebody this day and said, what the hell's going on up there? I started with SPED. I mean, we have a great team. I hope that the admins and the teachers and everybody else can find their voice and feel comfortable speaking their minds. It just seems to be a different level of confidence, as I mentioned last night. So thank you.
Ellen.
About everyone else, but the same word keeps coming up with you guys as team, and I really like hearing them. Yeah. Thank you.
John.
Welcome, Patrick. And to anyone who hasn't taught or been a part of the school system, you have no idea how exciting Monday is. I was like, the beginning of the school year can be all optimism, and with any luck, it's fulfilled. Monday morning, 8 o'clock, program starts at 8:30. It's always a great.
Get there early.
Yeah.
So Laura, great job on the award. Kim. A decade, I've been trying to get that breakdown like that for the absences. I think it portrays a very different picture of our staff and reasons that they're out. So thank you very much for that. And Ally, nice to see you again. And the board, your break is over. So we'll see you every week. Not like we were on the board. I know. It's nice. So, and I wish to all the teachers, paraprofessionals, secretaries, custodians, everybody, welcome back to school. Hope everybody, sometimes we enjoy their summer.
Maybe I'm better than meeting.
You're out of order. Can you ask him, let's adjourn and then you can ask him?
Yeah, as long as everybody does.
Okay, future meetings, are listed. Entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
I'm ready with the last.
Gary and Glenn.
I haven't.